Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Knife round is done. Dignitas have the choice. And we are going to be going into what will be actually the decider match. One of these will be heading off to the minor. The other team, well, they're just going to be staying. They're going to be staying at home. They're not going to be involved in this qualification for the major whatsoever. And, yeah, we've managed to witness one of these teams today. I'm guessing you with me, Harry. We're pretty impressed with how Space Soldiers played.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like if they can continue with that same confidence, that same momentum into Inferno, I think they stand a very good chance of being able to make it through to the minor, which I think, it surprised a lot of people when they originally came in and lost those first two games and were actually in the situation where they could have potentially been eliminated. Now they've been able to pull it back to a 2-2 record, putting them one win away from making it through to the minor. Dignitas, of course, going to find themselves in the same state of mind after we just saw them lose to, I think it was LDLC, if my memory holds up. And yeah, coming into this one, Tom, I do think it's quite interesting. Inferno being the map, I think, benefits Space Soldiers, especially considering that Space Soldiers are coming off the back of a win. We've already seen Space Soldiers beat teams like VP on this map. So, I mean, yeah, VP, not really the benchmark they used to be.
Yeah. Was it online?
It was online. It was online.
Did they also beat NIP? Oh, wait, they did beat NIP online. Then again, NIP have been in a bit more turmoil than VP for a while.
Okay, then. A little bit better statistic. We've seen them beat teams like North, Kingwin, okay, Godsend. There you go.
But pistol
the big
round
boys
underway. The classic Rush B strategy. With little utility, it becomes a lot easier to just take this control, and there's only one person there at the moment. It's Jacob. Got his trusty USP in ham. Rotation will be there from Rubino, but the site already under the control, and he's going to have to battle from the church.
Rubino doing good damage, takes the head off of Paz as well. Tensky's going to be here to back him up, as suddenly it all falls into Despe, and Major make that just Despe. As he watches Major lose his head before his very eyes. Despe 1v3, no armor to his name, playing out from behind Warriors, and Tensky just going to tap away, takes his head clean off, and that'll be the hat trick for Tensky. Dignitas to find themselves the pistol round, but Space Soldiers do at least get the bomb plant to kickstart this this half.
Yeah, real nice retake from them, actually. The B site, normally very difficult, but considering they lost the site so early on, and they were just able to take it back 1 kill at a time, very impressed with the start from them. They'll get themselves a bomb plant at least over on the T side, so it does mean they're going to have a couple of pistols in this one, but the rifles will be coming up into the next. And you can already just see the investments at the moment from Dignitas. They've gone for mainly utility with those UMPs to make sure that they can just slow down any of these pushes. We know, especially in terms of banana control, it's so vital to just have all of these nades available to you. And, well, not going to be going in that direction this time around at least, but Fox already starting very strong, just cleaning up these players. Antares is looking to trade. It will be Paz to get himself one at least, but that is all for now. One player dropped, UMP will be switched out for a rifle, and Dignitas comfortably take the second.
Yeah, now the buying going to be coming in from Space Soldiers, and this is their real shot to try and throw the spanner in the works early on. We can see still 2 UMPs on the cards for Dignitas into this round, and Fox finally going to be on that AWP. The AWP at 4 Dig. I'm going to try and kickstart this half in a big way. We can see playing with that over middle. Actually going to be bypassing, pushing down towards alt mid. Pass peeking on out, does spot him, so he's going to be forced on back. No frags found early on for either side just yet, as Fox still peeking down towards middle. Hasn't opted to smoke things off just yet. Instead, biding his time, playing it a bit more aggressively with the AWP over towards mid. Space Soldiers more than aware of this on the back of Paz's information, spotting him early on. Aren't going to be too keen to peek on out just yet. See the boosters come in. Sticking Chroman up there, up on top of the boiler, and well up towards Banana. 3 players here for Space Soldiers. Bomb's going to be picked up by Despe. It looks like they've decided which one of these sites they want to try and trickle on into. They've got 2 players left over towards 8, 2 up here on Banana. Now the rotate's going to come in and rejoin their teammates over towards Apps, as it looks like A is going to be the site in question.
You have to be a little bit careful of this boost currently being used, because the walls aren't as thick as they may seem. We have seen plenty of wall bangs through that already. 40 seconds left on the clock as the T's now look to make their move onto the site. The angle being held, a tight one at that from Fox. He's not going to be able to connect the shot. Was blind anyway, so can't expect much through the Molotov. He's actually going to go Zontara as he loses his life to that AWP. And so far, they haven't really got too much done. Rubino over in the pit as well. Picked up another. Paz, although able to trade, is not really getting anything done. Calyx brings it back into a 3 versus 2. And at least then, the bomb should be planted by Despe. But this is still a horrible situation.
Yeah, Fox still posted up with his all goes in for the flick, but Despe going to guillotine him on the peak on out. It's Tensky coming in with the flank, looking to be the linchpin here. Leaves it all on Calyx, 1v2. Playing around the site, he knows there's a player on his flank. Got to worry about Jacob coming in from the front, but it's Tensky with the backstab to take him down. Defuse going to come on in as Dignitas go ahead and find themselves a 3rd round here on the CT side. Space Soldiers struggling to find much early on here. They might get the bomb plant in this round, but the situation did look relatively favorable until they'd made that push into the site come through. They found the entries necessary to get the bomb down, but ultimately it was a nice hold from Fox over towards Long that complicated the matter that much more. And Tensky's been looking good as well. Currently 5-0 on the scoreboard. Rubino hot on his heels, but has gone down. So we're going to see Space Soldiers now coming in with a force by Tech9s and Deegs across the board. A little bit of utility to play around with. With 2 smokes, it's kind of the perfect amount to push in towards that B bomb site as they currently just wait over towards the ramp. Fox actually going to take the aggressive peek down through mid. Shouldn't be too worried, seeing as only techs reside over towards T-ramp for Space Soldiers.
I like that as well. Just Croman holding down to make sure that if anybody is spotted, that Fox can just fall back straight away. Now, the idea from the T side is to avoid any early nade damage at least. We know the majority of time in any sort of defense of this site that some HEs will be thrown just to sort of damage up these Ts, but they've avoided them. Now look to push through, but there's a gap in the smoke. Tensy's going to take the advantage of it. Push going to go through. Major able to pick up an AWP, but he's losing teammates in the meantime, and they haven't been able to get onto the site. Tensky holding the angle yet again, doing so much damage. Just making things very, very difficult for the T's to actually get onto the site, and now they're stuck. Not really able to move too much. Major holding onto the rotations, but the problem is, unless somebody actually goes pushing into his crosshair, it's not really going to help them too much. And you can see Rubino, he's just looking to hold them in, make it even more difficult for them trying to push onto this side. 30 seconds on the clock, and we're going to lose Calyx. Only the AWP remains. Major's want to try and get out of there.
Yeah, Rubino holding the angle. There's only 20 seconds left, as you said. He's got to find himself 3 quick frags, with Jacob holding the close angle and the crossfire set up with Tensky. The flank held by Rubino. It's not looking too great here if you are Major. And as he peeks on out, going to be spotted by Rubino, and goes in with the peek. A couple of seconds left. Could have waited for the clock to tick down, but they just wanted to try and find him. Leave him with no opportunity of saving that AWP into the next. And that'll be another round for Dignitas here. Now, at this point for Space Soldiers, coming off of that win versus NIP, they must be riding it high, but it looks like, if anything, they're falling behind early on. There is a lot of pressure on both of these teams' shoulders in this game, of course. The winner will be heading through to the minor. The loser will be eliminated. And, well, not going home, they're already home, but the push coming up banana already. Zentaras isn't looking too healthy. He's been tagged down extremely low. Jacob's been flushed on out thanks to that Molotov. But it's a bad start for Space Soldiers. They've already seen one of their star players tagged down to a measly 20 HP. He really has yet to accomplish anything. Still yet to get a frag. The smokes and flash is going to rain in over towards A. Fox finds the damage with the AWP early on. The nade in through mid. She better pick something up. Zentara is going to take that to the face and will go down. No refrag found just yet. Fox can be forced back, but Tensky holding the flank takes the head off Major, just decapitates him on the push. And now Croman stepping up as well. Able to find one, finally traded out by Calyx, but they leave themselves 2v4. Bomb down out in the open, going to be picked up by Calyx, so up close. Going to do the damage on the Tensky. Now finds himself 1v3. Trying to clutch this out. 53 seconds left to play around with. And the bomb in hand.
Yeah, he does have at least the time to make something of this. CT side with 2 players still on the A side. AWP of Fox is there as well. Timeout is actually being called. I think, well, it's likely to be from Space Soldiers. Things definitely aren't working out the way they'd like it so far. Push from Calyx. We'll actually spot out Rubino, but now they know exactly where he is. The rotation already being called and the damage done with the nade as well. He'll fall. 5-0 Dignitas, and Space Soldiers are calling a pause.
Yeah, you know, rightfully so. Coming into this, I think this is one that I definitely was leaning more towards Space Soldiers to pick up. We haven't really seen Dignitas opt to play this map too much. And even then, whenever they have played, it's been fairly 50-50 as to how well they've done. Right now, though, clearly the aspirations, the dreams, fueling them to make it through to the minor with the chance to then qualify into the, I guess, major qualifiers. Would you know, would be propelling them forward to play at their best. And Space Soldiers, after their win earlier on, as I said, up against NIP, you would have expected them to come into this, you know, firing on all cylinders, as we saw on Cobble, but clearly that doesn't look to be the case. And hopefully a pause, a moment to think things through and reset might be all they need. A moment of clarity in amongst what else has been a very Dignitas orientated game. Could be all they need to try and put them back in this. Currently, they're only 5 rounds behind. It's still early days, and I do agree with taking this pause early on, as it's going to give them a chance to try and get this under control before it completely and utterly annihilates any hopes of them surviving this matchup.
Yeah, I actually think I might have read somewhere that Space Soldiers are actually playing this one from Germany. I think the ping may suggest that as well, because they've always had internet troubles. So they really are taking this very, very seriously. They want to try their best to get into the competition. Somebody could correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. That, well, just even looking at the pings that they currently have, I don't think I've ever seen Space Soldiers with 20 and below. At least in this round, things aren't working out so far. They have just invested into pistols, making sure their buy will come in the next. Chrome are going to take a little bit of damage for Fox, so the repeat will finish him off. And he started very well in this game. Not being taken down too often, although that's a nice shot from Despe. And if he can get his hands on the AWP, that could be a different scenario altogether. Croman in position as well, but he'll be able to take down one and is just going to fall back to the site, make sure he doesn't lose his life. And while Rubino there to back him up, this partnership has been working well so far. And by the looks of things, Paz not going to be able to hit the shot with the AWP either.
Yeah, looking to try and save if he can. Looking like he might repeat, but walking in the waiting arms of Jacob will go down. Dignitas to find a 6th consecutively, in Space Soldiers yet to find anything in their T side. Really, when you look at it, you look at Zentara as the player who usually steps up in pivotal moments like this, falling completely silent, still yet to frag within this first half. It's going to be with a buy on the cards now for Space Soldiers. Despe is going to have the AWP as well. What I'd like to see is maybe a bit of a change of pace. We've seen them try this A-bomb site time and time again on these rifle rounds, and it hasn't really been working out. Potentially trying something over there towards B could be a solution to their problems, but they still look fairly dedicated towards A. This time, Fox has been chipped away at and tagged down low. Rubino's rotated around over here towards B to be boosted up by Jacob. This means they could now rotate an extra player back over towards A, as currently there's only 2 players here for Dignitas. But instead, they might be taking the gamble, keeping 3 players over at B. The Space Soldiers have shown they're more than willing to hit the A-bomb site time and time again. We've really only seen them go B twice. So it's a gamble that you have to question whether or not it is going to pay off. At the same time, they might be able to catch Space Soldiers on the one time they do go B and have it as this more stacked site. It's a very interesting decision to make regardless, because Fox is tagged down to a mere 8 HP on that A-bomb site. But it looks like it might pay off. The bomb rotating up Banana. Everyone stacked up here for Space Soldiers, about to push in to this B bomb site.
Yeah, smoke going to go down from Tensky, which will buy him a little bit of extra time. He's going to get into multiple boost spots at the moment. Rubino just sat, obviously waiting for that smoke to go down. That's where the advantage lies. All the nades are going to come in. It's a quick push out. The Tensky already finding the burst, and they pushed into the Molotov. So much damage done. Tensky will get a second as well, and they've got to speed things up. They've still only got 25 seconds, and they've not thrown a smoke into CT. It's just a little bit behind, but that little bit is enough for Rubino to get an extra kill. He just makes something from that mistake, and now with 10 seconds left, they're looking to try and get this bomb plant, but with Despe already just against the ropes, it's not going to be happening. He doesn't have time, and, well, it wouldn't even matter anyway. Fox is going to take his head off.
Tensky, Rubino, and Fox just been firing on all cylinders. We're going to see another timeout called in. Space Soldiers currently 7 rounds behind, getting a taste of their own medicine. We saw them, you know, completely and utterly ruin NIP just moments ago. And now Dignitas are returning the favor. Currently 7 rounds up. Space Soldiers still yet to find any success early on. And Space Soldiers, a team that have shown that they're quite led by their emotions. We'd expect them to be spurred on in this sort of instance, but instead, being 7 rounds behind, losing 7 consecutively, you can tell it's not affecting them in the best of ways. Centaurus currently bottom of the scoreboard, 117, looking like he's straight out of Halo. As, yeah, I mean, he's not looking too good right now, and he's normally the one that we look to on the side of Space Soldiers. Instead, it's Major top of the scoreboard. The IGL for Space Soldiers trying to pull his weight. Calyx, Paz, Deathspace, and Tyrus all falling silent. And, you know, we're going to need to see them step up if we want to see Space Soldiers win this one out.
Yeah, they're just looking like they don't really have anything at the moment over on this T side. They've been playing slow just because, obviously, in terms of all the utility that's available at the moment for Dignitas, they're just able to double nade onto Banana at the beginning of almost every single round. Then they keep all these Molotovs back so that even if it's a late push, they just seem to have utility no matter what. And every single pick at the beginning of rounds is going the way of this CT side. Look how confident Fox is playing. He has the chance to fire off 2 shots before actually falling back. Yes, he misses both, but it just shows that there's not really a counter, and that's a lovely shot onto Major. Out of the round once again, Rubino, this time with a more aggressive angle into Apps, going to be waiting for Calyx, but instead decides to fall back a little bit. They've already got the man advantage, so no reason to really take such aggressive peeks. Fox repositioning back, making sure that he can hold over towards that arch, but they are just going to go a little bit faster this time. 4 players pushing towards this A site, taking control, waiting for Fox's peak, and this time Despe will even up the scoreline, looking for Rubino as well, but from Pitt so far, he's been deadly, and the team really need to clear him out before anything can be done.
Yeah, they find themselves currently pinned over towards mid. 3 players rotated round for Dignitas in towards this A bomb site. If Space Soldiers go in now, then they would be walking into a stack, and the call does get made for them to rotate on back over towards B. Tensky here to try and hold this off alone. Currently weighted, boosted up on top of Oranges, just holding the angle for when the inevitable push does come in. They leave 1 player behind in the form of Centaurus. Not Centaurus, sorry. Over towards mid and pushing on into Centaurus on the entry. Tensky gonna take him down. Rubino dispatching of Calic on the flank. It's all on Paz. 1 versus 3. Does make his way towards the B bomb site. We'll be able to get that bomb down. But the rotate's in full effect. The retake going to come through. He has to try and clutch this out in a 1v3. Pushing it round over towards the church. Just waiting his dig. They take this very, very slowly, very methodically, not wanting to throw away the man advantage. Don't want to allow him to isolate these engagements into a series of one-on-ones. Instead, they go in together. They take the peak. Not going to clear out Church, the one place that he is currently residing. Instead, going to opt to clear all the angles on the site. Defuse going to come in from Chrome, and they're just going to lock it down, and Paz going to get beheaded as Rubino rounds the corner and takes his head clean off. A valiant effort, but Dig will find an 8th.
Yeah, Tensky is just looking unstoppable on that B side at the moment, saving the incendiary till right at the last second, taking down 2 when he's alone on the site, and he just makes the retake attempt very, very easy for the rest of his teammates. Absolutely superb stuff from him, and just using all the utilities he's had very, very wisely. T-side getting a bomb plant means they do at least have a buy. Obviously, max loss bonus has been in play for the last few rounds, in fact. It's not even to the point where they don't have the money to buy back up. They don't have an AWP, but on the T side, that's not really something you expect to see too often, unless you're looking to counter, and maybe that is something they need, because they need to counter Fox. He's been very good so far, but this time, he's on the other side of the map. He's actually alone on the other side of the map. They have 4 players over towards A.
Tensky in through the smoke finds the first, and Centaurus there to instantaneously trade things out. They're going to continue to push on in, but Jacob's hot on their heels, flanking round. Centaurus gets a second. He's not done just yet. As he tries to clear out this A bomb site on his own, Fox pounces from Pitt. Centaurus going to get himself the 3rd, but then Rubino is there to finish things off. They walk into the stack site. Centaurus does get 3, which could perhaps be his awakening. But Dignitas still do a great job of locking it down, picking up a 9th. I think at this point, defying all expectations, and Fox really living up to his name like a deadly creature of the night, just picking away at the carcass that is Space Soldiers. We see him time and time again, finding these opening frags, falling on back, and then just allowing them to maintain that man advantage. I think he's been one of the most pivotal players. There we go once again, finds the man advantage early on the back of an aggressive peak, and that leaves it in his teammates' hands to maintain this lead.
T's definitely looking a bit stuck in the mud, not knowing what to do, and it's just classic stuff at the moment coming out from Dignitas. You have that sort of early man advantage. You set Fox up on the B site. They originally rotated a player over. That's what I was going to talk about, the fact that Jacob then rotates away because they have so much faith in him, and rightly so, hitting a lot of shots today, but also just positionally. He's able to, even when he missed, just get out of there the majority of the time. Even looking confident enough to go back for another repeat. Timing shot gives him a third. Looking for the fourth through the smoke. One man left is Despe. It's Fox looking for the ace. And, well, he's going to see the flash. Misses the shot. Goes for the knife. But it's not quite enough to finish things. He can't ace it this time. Despe alive on 35 HP. But he's got 4 players. No bomb. Does have an AWP, though. It doesn't matter. Jacob will finish things off. Finish the work that Fox started. And that'll be 10-0.
I mean, is this revenge for Space Soldiers just completely manhandling NIP earlier? Is this Dignitas now stepping up and claiming revenge for, you know, their apparent Swedish allies? We'll never know, but currently it's 10-0 in favor of Dignitas. Space Soldiers yet to find anything on this T side, and well, Despe does find himself with the AWP once again. Going to be picking up the man advantage early on in mid. Fox will go down, and he's been pivotal for Dignitas picking up these early frags. So losing him could be the difference maker. The AWP can be juggled onto the back of Rubino, who's now holding apartment from middle. Has to watch out because the push could come in and catch him off guard from behind. The smoke's there for the time being. But as it starts to dissipate, we're going to see him fall on back away from short. Re-smoked up from Jacob, and now falls on back over towards B, playing it from Speedway, being that floater between the A and B bomb site. Space Soldiers still looking undecided. Don't want to be throwing away the man advantage they worked so hard to get. This is the best situation we've seen them in, really, since the start of the game. And it looks like B is going to be the site in question they decide to go to.
Smoke still down, Tensky still standing, which so far has been very scary. Actually looking to go a little bit more aggressive. They have, however, run out of utility other than that is over on Rubino. And actually, this has just all been a bit of an elaborate ruse. They're going to late push back over towards this A site. AWP standing for a second as Rubino falls. And now it's all onto one. Hiding in the corner is Chrome, and there is enough time for sure to clear him out of this spot. He's going to get one, but that will be it. Tensky managing to find another. The lurker of, I think that was Major. But other than that, 3 versus 2, retake once again.
Yeah, and Despe holding the angle up towards Library. Jacob takes the peek and will lose his life as a result. Tensky going to be picking up the AWP, now just looking to save. Space Soldiers will be able to find themselves there first on the back of a nice 3K, the hat trick from Despe. But still, I mean, 10 rounds in and only 1 round on their T side. Less than ideal, to say the very least, especially seeing as now they do run the risk of having their economy reset. It is looming, a threat that could ultimately cost them the next couple of rounds. Picking up the next and getting 2 consecutively, chaining a couple together, is going to be so important for Space Soldiers at this point in time. Dignitas still with plenty of money can afford to buy up regardless. So all the pressure now really going to reside on Space Soldiers to try and continue chaining together some rounds.
Yeah, I think the one shining light for them at the moment is the fact that they have had quite a few close rounds. So that's meant that Dignitas' economy is not in a good state whatsoever. So if they can win this round, it's likely that they'll either have a sort of half buy or just a complete eco out from Dig. So in this sort of position, they actually have a chance to get at least like 3, 4, maybe even 5 rounds at a push just based off of this round alone. So definitely something possible. And the big thing as well, they've started off by catching the aggressor of Fox. He's been doing so well in this game thus far, and losing him early in the round was actually the first that they managed to win. Rubino still going to be waiting, and they've left Tensky solo over towards this B site. He's done very well at that so far, so it may actually be an A hit that becomes a little bit more valuable. And actually Jacob looking tempted to go rotating back over towards this B site means this A hit coming in will only have 2 to defend.
Yeah, Croman from Pit to try and hold this back. The Molotov will land, and he's got support from Rubino. Both players playing it here Tensky pushing down Banana, gets so much information. He could be the linchpin in this round. He could pounce onto these guys when the push comes through. The rotate's going to be near on instantaneous as Jacob's rotated round in towards this A bomb site. Push now going to be coming out, and Tensky will pounce. Despe going to hit the deck into a 4-on-4. Major desperately trying to turn the tide of battle as he does pick up Croman. Still has 2 frags left to find within the site, and Jacob not going to go down too easy. Rubino raining in death from afar over by Pit, picks up 2. Bomb going to go down out in the open. Tensky still lurking from behind. Rubino knows he's got the bomb. Calyx has to try and peek out to get it. There's only 20 seconds left. He's got to be fast. He has to clear out Pit. And Rubino going to get caught, will be found, but Tensky instantly there on the flank to pick up the trade. Dignitas going to find themselves on 11 now. The economic reset, which was looming, now going to be felt hard by Space Soldiers, who have a little bit of money on Zentaris and Calyx, but everyone else with very little to their name, I imagine. Oh, we're going to be seeing the Force come in. Zentaris with the Catalyst Rifle, Despe with an SMG. Doesn't leave them with much to try and work with, though.
That voice at the back of Inferno has thrown me like 5 times. I keep thinking there's someone just walking in. Every time I hear him, like, what was... Oh, it's the game. But, yeah, it's troubling times for Space Soldiers. Gotta try and get something done in this round, and they haven't been able to do it with much more. It's the push straight out once again, and they haven't checked the corner properly. There we go. Jacob will go down Major with the Tech 9. Now only 2 players remaining. This time, finally, they catch out Jacob, but instead... Or they catch out Tensky, sorry, but instead, Rubino's there to trade 2 back. The bomb has been dropped on the site. The rotation will be enabled by his CT partners, but they've at least picked up a little bit of weaponry and some utility to hold on.
Zentaris watching the smoke. Fox going to be boosted up over the top, but it's Rubino first to go down, gets caught crossing. Out by Coffins. Cromans were coming in as well, but right now things are a little bit hot and spicy out here. Will be held back by that Molotov for the time being. The bomb still hasn't gone down, though. So plenty of time for Dignitas to try and find an opener, and there it is. Fox to drop Calyx. Bomb gets dropped out in the open. Croman can actually watch that from his position. So Fox is going to fade away, finds himself a second because he's not done yet. He's on 2, looking for a third, and Despe might be the man to give that up. Coming in from behind, desperately trying to find some sort of equalizer. Does at least deal with Croman, and now he knows that Fox is nearby as well. That wasn't the player who dropped his 2 comrades. Bomb down in the middle of the site. 20 seconds left, and Despe has to pick it up and get it down if he wants to stand any chance of winning this out for Dignitas. For Space Soldiers, sorry. That couldn't have been more wrong. Fox waiting, spots him on the cross, and down goes Despe. The hat-trick for him. And I guess in a way, Despe did win it out for Dignitas. Couldn't quite find that frag. Doesn't get the bomb plant. And that'll be Dig to find a 12th.
Yeah, a very, very close round once again. I have to point out, 3 of Zentaris' kills came in the 1 round that we were sort of, maybe this is the awakening. I think since then he's had 1. It is unbelievable. Calyx as well, just not there. It was actually Major in that round, getting them the entries, and Despe. There we go. I might not even be pronouncing that right either. But, never mind. Croman, I can say that one. He's going to get 2 with the Mag 7 aggressively, making more money. Something they did actually need, considering looking at their economy. They only have 1 person surviving in the last round. Major through once again. We'll be able to trade something back, but it's a little bit late. And a Mag 7 may not be the best thing to have in a 1v4.
Still no, I believe Major's name. That spot that they're competing for. Not actually, they're competing for a spot in the minor, but still, the end game is the Major. They want to try and stay in this. It does all fall onto the man himself. 1v4 with a Mag 7 to try and clutch this out. Player hard his heels, and Jacob just going to come around the corner and impale him. That will be Dignitas to pick up a 13th. Space Soldiers with money to buy down into what is the last round of the first half. They stand trying to pick up a 2nd round. The pistol round alone could decide the fate of Space Soldiers and their chances of making it through into the minor. Dignitas only a couple rounds away. The buy as well sees Despe with no AWP. Instead, it's rifles across the board. The nade's already finding some good damage down through mid, and Fox going to take the aggressive peek yet again. There's no stopping this aggression from this man. Down goes Calyx. No trade frag found. And now the rotate coming in from Fox back out towards A. Means there's going to be 3 players here to hold back Space Soldiers.
Croman already spotting 1. Fox looking tempted to go through the smoke, but decides to just leave them. Hold those players in. A rotation already out from Jacob as well. Still, a little bit of information gained from Tensky, but he hasn't gone all the way through. They're going to try and boost over the smoke. Zontares spotting into Graveyard, but can't quite see Rubino. He's holding passively enough, and they are sort of stuck at the moment. They need to find some sort of entry, and Fox is actually going to get them instead. Zontares able to trade. In fact, looking for 2, but it's just not enough. Rubino again steps up, finds himself a kill, and leaves it on to Paz. All alone. Nothing they can do here. And it's 14-1. Domination at the moment.
I like to think, you know, the ghosts of NIP just stood watching over this game, and you know, thinking, good job, Dig, for sticking it to the side of Space Soldiers. Well, anyway, 14-1. Space Soldiers in with a shot to try and make their way back into this, but the pistol round, to say it's important is a granted, but for Space Soldiers now, it literally means the difference between going home and staying in this. So the pressure is very much on. Dignitas pushing up through Banana early on. Calyx is going to be here, might get caught out in the open, trying to fall back into the relative safety of the site. Has got 2 teammates here to try and back him up. The pop flash going to come in very late, and that allows Calyx and Despe to just start wrecking heads. It's all on Rubino, who loses his life, and Space Soldiers are going to pick up the pistol. A 3k from Calyx, 2 frags for Despe. They're not done just yet.
Yeah, nice pistol round. They're able to just shut down the aggressive push. I have to say, there wasn't really anything too crazy in that sort of round. It was just the same pistol we saw on the opposing side. Investment will involve just SMGs, the UMPs, of course. Lots of utility. Again, something I said on the previous side, except even more so for Space Soldiers, as they've actually got 5 rather than just 3. We had a couple of rifles. But there's just so many close range angles on this map. There's so many spots you can play, places to hide, and places that are just very easily cleared, or at least slowed down with the right amount of utility. So that's what they're planning on doing. Already a lot of damage done onto Tensky. Rest of the team actually healthy. They avoided a lot of the nades early into this round, and I think that's just going to become the norm, really. When you know that they have plenty of utility, just wait out the first sort of 20, 30 seconds, maybe spot somewhere else on the map, and then take banana control once everything is cleared.
Well, the push going to be coming on in. Holding the angle is going to be Calyx, but he's been tagged down low, and everyone walking his way. Major's on their site, somewhat leaving Calyx to fend for himself. Now Major takes the peek and only gets 1. Dignitas going to go ahead and take this B bomb site and the man advantage. They've got themselves a UMP to try and hold things off with, and they're actually going to take the aggression, pushing over towards CT. Jacob is there and going to just completely and utterly decimate Zontares. Despe going to fall as well in the blink of an eye. It's all on Pats, who goes down because Chroman is the D king. And that is Dig to find the 15th. They arrive at match point, 15-2. Space Soldiers having to force buy for what could be their last round in their chance of making it through to the minor.
They're not even going to buy a rifle. They're just going to stick with the 5 umps. Oh, wait. No, Fox. You ruined it, Fox. Right at the last second, he decides, nope, actually, I want an AK. I don't want this. Boom. Trash. But the rest of the team will stick with it. On the other side, we have some pistols. Again, a couple of UMPs, but no utility this time, or no major utility, so they should be able to take control of this banana very, very early on. And, well, Rubino going to take a little bit of damage, but it just seems like even trades at the moment. Major using his small amount of utility to gain a close range angle, benefiting his UMP more, but also doing the same for his opponents.
Yeah, right now, Dignitas, they are suffering from a weak hold of their banana. Fox able to find 1 in return, actually now opens up B as a huge possibility. Calyx having to rotate back round. 4 players over in bottom mid, deciding as to whether or not banana is for them. At this point, Tensky, I mean, he has been dropped, but on the side of Space Soldiers, Zontares and Major, the IGL, and normally the you know, kind of king of Space Soldiers, having to just sit back, relying now entirely on their team to decide the fate of them in this competition, if they can make it through to the minor. And right now, everyone from Dignitas just flanking over towards this A site. There's only 1 player here in the form of Paz. And they're just sneaking on up. They have no clue. They've got the majority of their forces in towards B. It's all eyes on Paz to try and hold this back. And now the push going to come in. He does just do the job of dealing with Fox, at least. The push, the onslaught continuing, and Paz cutting them down, finds himself a second. Now it's all on Calyx and Despe to try and retake this bomb site. They both are able to gather up some UMPs between them. Despay's already there. Calix rotating around up through mid as he goes on the flank, but Despay gonna fall to Rubino. He's tagged down at 5 HP, but still has Jacob here to try and trade him out. Calix flanking up towards long, walks into the waiting arms of Rubino, but we'll be able to find the frag. It's all on Jacob. 1v1. Bomb timer ticking down. The peak going to come out from Jacob, and Calix will go down. Dignitas going to pick this up 16-2. Space Soldiers never even showed up.
I think we've learned a valuable lesson today. We've learned a valuable lesson. You don't play Space Soldiers on Cobblestone. You play them on Inferno. Because it was like worlds apart. Don't want to take anything away from Dignitas. I think they're absolutely phenomenal. Every single player having a decent game. Nobody really slacking. Impressive stuff from Fox, just able to find those picks in almost every single round. One of the only ones they lost was him dying. Rubino over towards Pit. He had Tensky on B. And even though, like, for example, Croman and Jacob were not particularly, like, up on the board, it wasn't necessary. And Croman even having a 3K in that second round of the second half. So that is it. Done. Space Soldiers will not be going through to the minor, but Dignitas, this newly formed team, will get to have their shot and try and see what they can do in Europe. I think it's going to be tough either way. The teams that we've had going through already is just sort of incredible. Like, you think this is just to go through to the minor. You've got the likes of Envy, a team that, well, not this team, but an organization that previously have won a major. You've got LDLC in there as well. Big Penta iGame. And this is just to attempt to qualify. Obviously now we can add to the list Dignitas as well, and I imagine even maybe a couple of other games. I think Fnatic Academy have managed to get through. So yeah, it's been fun. I've enjoyed it, Harry. It's been a good time, and I think that is us done for today.